you know, and these are the type of...
To Kobe Bryant, the long alley-oop pass. Kobe Bryant. Kobe is fouled, and he will go to the line.
Numbers, maybe not, but they got number 8.
Fire shot's not going to have any hair.
Lynch, 2 seconds, 1 second. Kobe pump fake. Kobe for the win.
Oh my gosh. Create some space.
Just see.
You just saw what Kobe does best, and that's bring people
Less than 5. The way outside. Got it! Oh, man!
Patterson keeps his feet. Kobe forces. Oh! He made it! Out to Kobe. Ball away high. What a way to finish! Are you kidding?
that was sweet. Kobe at the buzzer.
Yes!
Oh, my goodness.
Well, how serious was that?
Kobe Bryant! Here comes George to Kobe Bryant. Bryant inside. It's good. It's good. Tie game.
From the organization.
The final seconds. Bryant for the win. Bang!
And he gets a free throw for the end.
Kobe Bryant, sensational. Driving a slam.
Everybody, even the Nets fans are on their feet.
Look out.
And the Lakers lead 82-80. Classic Bryant.
The Lakers the lead.
You are watching one of the greatest performances in the history of this game.
Mamba out.
If I got to fight to get you in the gym, that's a problem. That's a problem. You want players that are gym rats, players that want to be in the gym, that want to work. And then from there, you build on top of that. But if you're lazy, man, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. You're going to make me feel dumber. You know, you're going to lower my level. I don't think so. You can go over there. And I don't deal with people that don't commit at that level, but then act as if they do. I don't deal with that. I don't. Have a dream, sacrifice for it, and never ever rest in the middle.
Always try to do through injuries is not think about them, because when the game itself is more significant than the injury, you don't feel the injury. The injury won't get in the way because it's not important to you.
I had all of this pent up frustration that I needed to let out. It was an avalanche, man. And, you know, there was nothing that was going to get in the way. There was nothing that was going to stop.
Much the same that I am now, actually, which is extremely curious. Extremely curious. I had a great teacher in high school. Her name is Jane Mastriano, who I'm still very close to. And she sparked my curiosity in writing. And the reason why I felt it was important at the time was not for the writing's sake, or not for storytelling purposes, but there are things in story, inherently in story, that can help me be a better basketball player, be a better teammate, a better leader, understand emotions better. So that's why I got into it, into storytelling, actually. So it's just insanely curious, man. And you know, trivial things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things that were, I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. I made that deal with myself at 13 years old. The love of the game, the challenge. Like I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things, and I'd say, you know, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out. Let's find out. And so that curiosity to see where I could push this thing led me down that path, I think. If I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, you know, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but you know, if you live your life to just get better every single day, you do that for 20 years, I mean, what do you have? The best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. But you always want to outwork your potential. You know, as hard as you believe you can work harder than that. And that's what I tried to do when I first came in the league. But you know, basketball is such a direct competition sport that me coming in at 17, I hated when like my teammates would say, you know, I get hit with an elbow, right? Shaq would hit me with an elbow in practice, and like, you know, Nick Van Exel would come up and say, "Are you okay?" I'm like, motherfucker, what? Mao, are you okay? What the hell's wrong with you? You know, so like I always had that extra chip on my shoulder. So like every day in practice for me was really trying to annihilate everybody that I was playing against. Because I wanted to prove you don't need to babysit me. Like I'm fine.
Flew back to LA that night, and I got home. It was probably like 3 a.m, and I went down to the high school, which is down the street from our house. And the janitor let me in the gym, and I shot all day. All day. I mean, all day. And this was right after that playoff game. And I didn't leave the gym. I just kept shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and practicing and practicing. And I got a chance to let out the steam of disappointing my teammates and millions of fans. I got a chance to let all that out instead of bottling it up and envision that moment over and over and over and over and over. That was a huge summer for me because I felt like everybody had written me off after those air balls.
I got business to take care of, high school. I got business. A lot of teams that beat us in the past, now it's revenge, it's payback time. So I'm gonna stay focused on that. I wanna win a state championship. So when the season rolls around, be more focused than ever. You have to keep moving on, because I know a lot of guys who've been number one in the past years and it just fell off a cliff. So I have to keep working hard. Hopefully everything will work out, I'll be number one in the future.
The focus and the intensity that you have to have, you know, 1 through 14. You know, everybody has to be focused, everybody has to be ready to go. And you know, you have to play with that sense of urgency on every possession.
I was not going to be stopped. So at the age of 18, this was my life, right? So you can't possibly become better than me because you're not spending the time on it that I do. Even if you want to spend the time on it, you can't, because you have other things, you have other responsibilities that are taking you away from it. So I already won.
So I'm going to continue to work hard, and we as a team are going to continue to work hard as an organization the same way, and continue to push and push until we get back to that top.
One of the things I would do is while everybody would be at the cafeteria work, you know, eating and doing all sort of stuff, I just go back to the gym. And so that was my way of showing them, yeah, I may be from the suburbs, but you're not going to outwork me.
Wow.
And I'm mentally going to. So when we played at 13, I would size you up and see what your strengths and weaknesses are. How do you approach the game? Are you silly about it? Are you goofy about it? Are you good at it just because you're bigger and stronger than everybody else? Right? Or is there actually thought and skill that you put into it? Right? And when I'd play to my weaknesses. I wouldn't play to my strengths. I played to my weaknesses. Because when you're playing summer basketball, there's so many games. So there's not a lot of skill work being done. So when are you going to get better? Right? When you're playing in competition situations, you're only playing to your strengths. Why? Because you want to win. Right? So what I would do, I was work on the things during those games that I was weak at. Left hand, pull-up jump shot, post game. Right? So I have a strategy. And so then fast forward to when I'm 17, and my game is completely well-rounded, and that player at 13 that I saw at 13 is still doing the same shit at 17, now you got a problem. To as Goat Mountain. I went to Goat Mountain, and I talked, what did you do? What were your experiences? Michael in particular, he's become my big brother. He's been my big brother since I first came in the league. And what was that process like? And so I went to them and started understanding the ins and outs of the game, and how they approach things and their level of detail and obsessiveness, and that's what I did. Well, I mean every day. Since 20 years. It was an everyday process, and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Man, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive. Right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast. Right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game, and it just never changed.
You start with, what do you want your game to be? What would make your game most unstoppable or hard to deal with? And now you work backwards from there. And you start building it one piece at a time, one move at a time, one counter at a time. And to have bonding and understand that if we want to get to that elite level, we really have to put in the work day in and day out.
With that, but I've worked extremely hard this summer to be able to play at a high level, regardless of the minute, right? If it's 30, if it's 48, I'm prepared to do whatever's necessary, and that's my job to do so.
I tried to find a balance, right? I tried to do both. I had a great deal of energy, so if there was a school party going on or something like that, I'd play basketball for a few hours. I'd do what I have to do and have fun doing it, and then I'd go to the party, and I'd show up and I'd have a good time, have fun, and I'd be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, working out, and training the next day. So I tried to do both. Well, it was 1,000 makes a day in the summertime, and going through things just as I would during the game. So I knew exactly where my positions were within the triangle and where the shots would be coming from. So everything that I did throughout the course of my training was literally simulating that. So it was all game shots. So when it came in the game, things were just automatic because I'd put my body through it before. Sometimes you get in the gym and you work out and you work on ball handling, you work on shooting, but none of it's really within a structure of what you will be doing in the game. For me, it wasn't like that. It was literally carbon copy of what I'd be doing. So by the time the season came around, it was all just muscle memory. Rest at the end, not in the middle. And that's something I always live by. Yeah, we're gonna work hard. That's what training camp's about, preseason's about, is working hard, getting in shape, getting in condition. And not so much about the games, but just, the game is just another way to kind of, get your exercise, get your win, get your rhythm. So we're pushing it in practice all week. It's simple. Like if you do the math on this, right? Like if you're thinking about how often kids are playing, right? And I tell this to my daughter and my daughter's team as well that I coach. It's a simple thing of math. If you want to be a great player, if you play every single day, 2-3 hours, every single day, over the course of a year, how much better are you getting? Most kids will play maybe, an hour and a half, 2 days a week. If you're obsessively training 2-3 hours every single day over a year, over 2 years, you're accelerating. You make quantum leaps, man. It might not be a sexy topic for everybody here to listen to. Right. Yeah. That's a critical part because you guys want to win a 6 championship. You got to understand that the recovery things that I do, this stuff, it's cutting edge. It's you have to be obsessive about the process. The most important thing to me was whether or not the player wanted to be here himself. Right? And then when you're here, the most important thing is winning championships. I don't care about anything else. It's winning championships. We don't have to like each other, but you will show up to practice every day, play hard. You will focus and commit to winning. And if that's the case, then we'll be just fine. And we're not on this stage just because of talent or ability. We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days or 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way. If anything tried to bring us down, we used it to make us stronger.
We were never satisfied, never finished, will never be retired. My high school English teacher, Mr. Fisk, I actually paid attention one time in class, and he said, he had this beautiful quote, and it read, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." And I took that to heart. I believe there's time for resting at the end, but for me, that time is not now. Thank you for this tremendous honor in acknowledging my basketball career, but I'm far from done. My next dream is to be honored one day for inspiring the next generation of athletes to have a dream, sacrifice for it, and never, ever rest in the middle. Thank you to my wonderful family, my wife, our daughter Natalia and Gianna, and thank you guys.